Hello, this is Dr. Emmett Miller. Shame is usually defined as a painful feeling of humiliation or distress. It's usually triggered by thoughts that you have behaved in a way that's wrong or foolish, or that's dishonorable or disgraceful, and that this is the result of some inner defect in you. Shame is different from guilt, which is the other feeling that commonly blocks our success and happiness in life. A person feels guilt when their behavior did not meet some internal standard. They believe they have the ability, but they did not use it. Shame is different. With shame, you tend to feel as if you don't have the ability to be successful, loved, respected, or competent. It's as if there was something fundamentally missing in your character, in your very being. I'm just no good at math. I could never make the team. Nobody will want to date me with my acne. If I speak up, people will laugh at me. I'm from the other side of the tracks. I could never be successful. Well, almost everyone feels at least a little shame at certain times in their lives. But for some of us, thoughts and feelings of shame and the behaviors that result are daily occurrences, and they infuse all aspects of our lives. This kind of shame involves complete self-condemnation. The traumatized subconscious mind launches major attacks against the self. Those of us who suffer from this kind of ongoing shame believe they will be found utterly unacceptable by society. The results are disgrace, dishonor, and the feeling of wanting to hide from others. It's as if part of our mind is constantly attacking, judging, and criticizing us. So where does shame come from? Well, ideally, a child comes into the world surrounded by love. He or she is the center of the universe to two loving parents. And even as the child gradually learns appropriate boundaries for dealing with the sometimes harsh real world, there's no break in that consistent feeling of being loved and lovable. They're always acceptable, worthwhile, and appreciated for who they are, no matter what. Well, in that kind of family, your sincere effort is always rewarded. And you begin to develop the belief that if you really try, you can be successful at almost anything you put your mind to. You believe in yourself, in your goodness, that you have a place in the world. You treat yourself with the love and respect that you experience getting from your parents, from your family, and from your community. You take failure in your stride. You either win or you learn, and what you've learned makes you a better person. You shrug off the idle criticism and judgments of others because you feel deeply that you are a good person and you are capable of succeeding. But alas, sometimes our family, our society, our so-called friends abandon and betray us, both while we are young and vulnerable and later on in our lives. We suffer abuse, we're traumatized, and when we complain, we're ignored, or worse, we're told we're a bother. Don't be a wise guy, or children should be seen and not heard. Gradually, we begin to doubt ourselves. We introject the dismissal of our pain. We begin to harbor ongoing feelings of shame within ourselves. The world does not seem to have compassion for us. Love no longer feels unconditional, and we despair of ever being able to earn love. As a result, we fail to develop the ability to feel compassion for ourselves. And when we fail, we attack ourselves rather than feel caring or kindness or a willingness to help ourselves recover. So what is the antidote to shame? The antidote to shame is quite simple. It's empathy, self-compassion, or what some might call self-love. The most natural way to learn self-compassion is through the process of imitation. As a child, if you were fortunate, you experienced a devoted, loving connection with your parents, especially your mother. And if dad becomes intolerable at certain times, critical or judgmental, it's mother's undying love and support and confidence that allows you to remain in touch with that self-caring. This builds resilience. Babies are born with awareness, but without self-awareness. As time passes, the child will begin to develop certain kinds of self-awareness. Physically, they will discover the limbs of their body and how to move them to get the kind of results that they really want from the world. We can help support them in learning a positive and healthy self-awareness physically by taking them to gymnastics, playing games that require physical agility, and so forth. To support their learning healthy mental and emotional self-awareness, we foster a growth mindset. We encourage them to explore, to risk, and to grow, and to reward their willingness to express themselves. We help them develop compassionate self-awareness by being empathetic, compassionate, and loving with them. It then seems natural to them to have compassion for themselves and melt away unnecessary feelings of shame. Every child seeks to discover, who am I? What can I expect from the world? How do I deserve to be treated? Lacking sufficient support from caregivers, or an unfortunate period of demoralizing relationship failures, especially in our youth, many of us develop a personality that, to a certain degree, is based upon some version of, I'm not good enough, not thin enough, not smart enough, cool enough, sexy enough, rich enough, macho enough, and so forth. Thoughts such as these give rise to feelings of shame, distress, fear of exposure, mistrust, powerlessness, helplessness, worthlessness. Such thoughts and feelings are a sign that shame is acting to filter and distort your view of reality. How often we see a really attractive young woman who feels fat or ugly, and then we see intelligent and capable men who are afraid to take a risk and express their truth, and vice versa. Their shame holds them back. It produces failures, which then reinforce their erroneous negative beliefs about themselves. Sometimes they hide these feelings by reacting with anger, focusing on criticism or judgment of others, trying to make others fail in order to make themselves feel a little bit better about themselves. Schadenfreude. As troublesome and as destructive as this shame-based thinking, feeling, and behaving is, it can be changed, because this kind of thinking is a learned response. It is a kind of learned helplessness. When you're stuck in shame, you're under the control of beliefs that have been programmed into your mind during your early years and reinforced by heartless people in your current environment. Remember, just because you believe something, that doesn't make it true. Your beliefs are simply behaviors, just as your thoughts and your emotions are behaviors. And because they belong to you, you have the power within you to change your behaviors, your beliefs, your thoughts, and your emotions. This program will equip you with the tools you need to do this. All you have to do is to be willing to learn to use them. No matter how stuck you may be in shame, there's a way out. The good news is that all of us have had a time in our lives when we have felt a deep sense of connection, of care, of compassion, or even love that you have felt from or for another person or a pet, Or perhaps you've seen that kind of love and acceptance modeled in a movie or a song or in someone you've observed in your life. You felt that warmth, the acceptance, the beauty of an open heart willing to give. You may not have recalled such incidents in your life for a while, for you have been distracted by the inner critic. But you can, through the use of your intention and the power of mindfulness. Just as you can think back to something unpleasant that happened yesterday, last week, or many years ago, and then feel bad about it, you also have the power to recall those times of feeling compassion and love in action and realize what a gift it is to have experienced these in your life, and the power to kindle that feeling within. Even if it was only for a day or a minute, you know what this feeling is. The power to feel it lies within you. As Brené Brown put it so succinctly, if you put shame in a petri dish, it needs 3 things to grow exponentially: secrecy, silence, and judgment. If you put the same amount of shame in a petri dish and douse it with empathy, it can survive. You'll be truly amazed to discover what will happen when you confront your shame head-on, armed with empathy and compassion and self-love. As you listen to this program, you will float on a magic carpet of relaxation to a special, safe place where you can open yourself to freedom and healing. Here you will relax deeply and empty your mind of judgments, criticisms, and other useless distractions. Next, you will relive a positive time in your life, a time of pleasure, happiness, of real connection, perhaps a time of feeling loved and loving. Then, in touch with the perfection and beauty within, and with gratitude for the gifts in your life, you will heal the child within and project a new, healthy, confident, free, and wise image of yourself into the future. Because the future is not somewhere you're going. The future is a place that you are creating right now, in this moment, with every thought, word, and action. So choose well. Now, allow yourself to enjoy discovering who you really are.